Scientists may have figured out how to make fat cells burn calories. And these are calorie storing white fat cells. Under a microscope, white could be the new beige when it comes to fat cells, following the discovery of a switch that maintains the functions of adipose tissue in mice, transforming it from a lipid locker into a calorie burner. Physician scientist Brian Feldman and molecular biologist Liang Li from University of California, San Francisco carried out a number of experiments on human cell cultures and mice engineered with a switch for a gene they hypothesized regulates the maintenance of our fat. By depriving the mice of the transcription factor KLF15, the researchers were able to transform the identity of deep storage white adipose tissue, WAT for short, WAT, into a more transient thermoregulating form called brown adipose tissue, BAT. Fat tissues typically come in two varieties in mammals. White fat is like a long-term saving deposit account for calories, locking lipids away beneath our skin and around our soft internal organs to serve as shock absorbers and insulators. Brown fat, on the other hand, is darkened by a generous number of cellular power generators primed to burn through its fuel supply at a moment's notice. Scarce in adult humans, babies, and hibernating mammals are blessed with significant amounts of BAT, that's brown adipose tissue, to keep their sleeping bodies toasty warm. For most of our evolutionary history, this age-relative balance of WAT versus BAT has served us well. Mature members of our species keep warm by using fat as a fuel for movement, while immobile newborns benefit from a more passive form of temperature regulation. Of course, in environments where dietary fats are abundant and mobility is limited, it's far too easy to invest a bounty of unused lipids in white fat storage, often to the increased detriment of our health. Nature has not made it easy to retrieve those fats once they're stored, either, inspiring researchers to search for ways to switch fat tissue types. For most of us, white fat is not rare, and we're happy to part with some of it, says Feldman. With Feldman's earlier investigations hinting at a role for KLF15, a fat metabolism, he decided to dig deeper and pin down its specific functions. The first big clue came in analysis capturing the quantities of KLF15 between the different kinds of fat tissue. The transcription factor was relatively abundant in the white cells, prompting Feldman and Li to ask what might happen if they deprived the tissues of the protein. And knowing isoproterenol stimulates brown tissue into generating heat, the pair administered doses of the compound into human WAT cultures and wild-type mice. Signs were clear that there was a relationship between the activation of brown fat and levels of KLF15, with follow-up investigation revealing an adrenergic receptor called ADRB1 was the critical link. A related receptor called ADRB3 was already known to researchers, with animal studies raising hopes that stimulating it could encourage white fat cells to change identity and become more like brown cells, brown-like, making it a little easier to shed their stores. Clinical trials are exploring whether ADRB3 agonists improve metabolic health in humans, though based on findings that the receptor is not detectable in human WAT, Feldman is optimistic that ADRB1 could serve as a more suitable therapeutic target. In an ultimate test, mice engineered with a kind of KLF15 gene toggle were found to increase their expression of ADRB1, making white adipose tissue more beige. Finding a way to generate a similar reaction in humans using pharmaceuticals could help overcome the hurdles many face in breaking into their fat reserves without the side effects that come with many other approaches. A lot of people thought this was not feasible, says Feldman. We showed not only that this approach works to turn these white fat cells into beige ones, but also that the bar to do so is not as high as we thought. The research was published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation, and this is on Science Alert by Mike McRae. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.